Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the final webinar of the 2024 Innovation in Motion webinar series. Thank you for joining us today. We're happy to have you here. And today, we're going to explore how PennDOT is leading the way in the digital transformation of project delivery, as well as an update on all of our electronic construction initiatives. My name is Anya Walker. I'm with PennDOT's Bureau of Innovations, and I am your moderator for today's session. Before we get started, I want to review a few important housekeeping items with all of you. All attendees are muted during this webinar session. If you need closed captioning, please select the closed captioning icon in the lower left-hand corner of your screen. A question and answer period will follow today's presentation. And if you have any questions during the session, please use the chat box in the lower right-hand corner of your screen to submit your questions. You can submit them at any time during the presentation. We'll compile the questions and answer them once the presentation has concluded. One professional development hour will be awarded for attending today's webinar. And if you would like to receive the PDH credit, please click on the link in the chat box to complete the survey and submit your information. Danielle just posted it in there, and we will continue to post it throughout the webinar today to make sure you have access to this link. Before we begin, please be advised that this session is being recorded. So if you ask a question or comment in the chat box during the session, please note that by doing so, you are consenting to the recording, retention, and use of your statements recorded as part of this session. All right, so I'd like to kick things off with introducing our speaker for today. Kelly Barber is the Chief of PennDOT's Engineering, Automation, and Services Division. I'm excited to have her here today, and she will share how PennDOT is leading the way in the digital transformation. PennDOT continues to champion the use of paperless technologies to transform the project delivery process, resulting in improved accessibility of project data, enhanced safety, better quality, and time and cost savings. Welcome, Kelly. Thanks for being with us today, and let's get started.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kelly Barber, and I am the Chief of the Engineering, Automation, and Services Division within the Bureau of Construction and Materials. Today, I'm going to be talking about the department's digital transformation and our bridging of opportunities where we're capitalizing on system interoperability to help streamline our processes. So today, I'm going to give you a little bit of a background on our legacy systems. I'm going to touch upon our Project Delivery Collaboration Center, also known as PDCC, and where we're at with that. Then taking us to another level within the environment of moving into a virtual world and bridging those innovations that I touched upon earlier, interoperability within our systems. So well over a decade, probably almost 2 decades at this point in time, PennDOT started our original digital transformation, and we've definitely blossomed from that initial starting point. But as you can see, a lot of our projects had a lot of paper on them, and the intent initially was to streamline our processes, to get rid of that paper and make things more transparent and available and accessible to those within the department, and depending upon what it is, also our external partners and our constituents as well. So knowing that we've been in this realm for at least 2 decades at this point, starting out small and continuing to grow, over that time frame, the department has developed a lot of internal customized solutions. This is just a snapshot of some of those solutions to help make our teams be more successful within their day-to-day work. The intent really is to alleviate some of that administrative side of the house, as well as streamline those workflows and processes. So again, this is just a snapshot of some of the systems that we currently utilize and will be utilizing in the future as well. So kind of jumping in here into what is our Project Delivery Collaboration Center, or otherwise known as PDCC. This originally started out as a project called Design Collaboration. It's been around for a while. We are finally getting to the point where we are delivering the solution for not only internal staff to use, but then our consultants here in the upcoming year. But the background of this, really, the intent was to have a location or a hub for our designers and our project managers to be able to go to have access to those different legacy solutions that you just saw on that previous screen, pulling data in, having that connection, storing their files, having workflows for their submittals. A lot of design submittals to this point still go through what used to be a paper process. Now maybe it's through email, but it's bringing it in to one system location and bringing accountability to that design process and knowing where those submittals are at and who has them and how long they've had them. As you can see, based off of this diagram, there are a lot of users anticipated to be within this solution, whether it's department staff, our counterparts in potentially other agencies or federal highways, our locals for those local projects as well, and other individuals may not be listed here. As far as devices, we are looking to be able to expand. Our project managers typically would have been set to have to be in an office setting, but making sure that this solution is also mobile. And potentially even going to those geolocation devices, and you'll see a little bit more of that later here on in the presentation, and that interoperability there. Tying into those legacy systems we had talked about, ASTA being our scheduling tool, office products, some of our key in-house solutions of ECMS for contract management purposes and MPMS from the planning side and other areas as well. And being able to work with multiple file formats. So, building upon, we have multiple legacy systems. We have a lot of different accomplishments, things that we want to see within this particular solution. And in order for us to be able to be successful with that, we want to ensure that we have a digital backbone that is platform inclusive, that allows the department as well as our business partners to capitalize on our investments and to be able to have that interoperability and that conversation between those solutions. So looking more for an open platform type system. And so with that, the main components of Collaboration Center are the Autodesk Construction Cloud, that is the backbone. We are utilizing our GIS databases here at the department for our master data, those configurations, and assisting with those customizations. And the initial rollout, which I will talk about here in a moment, is really focused and has been focused around collaboration, creation of department dashboards, setting up standardized roles across the department, specific templates for our districts, and being able to, again, streamline those processes, having document management, dashboards, collaboration, as you can kind of see throughout here on this word wall. So last January, we did start our gradual rollout of the solution. We started going out and training our engineering districts for internal projects. And, the key part is we wanted our districts to get their feet wet first, become familiar with the solution, and then be able to provide feedback to the PDCC team for areas that, they like to see, things that they would like to be able to see in the future that would help be a benefit to them and their processes. So again, we started training the end of January last year and training for the initial rollout for internal kind of came to a close, I would say, in the June timeframe of last year. So our districts have been in the solution since June, just getting their feet wet. It's not putting all projects in the system. It really is putting in, maybe one project per project manager, getting their feet wet, gaining that understanding of the system, and capitalizing on the initial training that we did provide. So from June, as of right now, we have around 1,500 users in the system, and we have around 143 active projects there. What we're really looking on for those projects is to, to capitalize on what we're looking at, making sure everything is set up so that way when it is time to do a full rollout for all projects. We want to, to make sure those roles are correct and where they need to be, as well as verifying those district templates, making sure the workflows have the right people in that solution and the roles tied to that submission, and assigning file permissions within the folder structure within the collaboration center environment. So again, just that initial test drive and making sure everything is set up correctly before we would roll out full bore. So bringing you into our collaboration center once you're logged in, this is the PDCC homepage. These are my projects that I am currently associated with for the department. Project managers will have a lot more than what I currently have here. But this is where you go in. This is where your project creation starts. All PDCC projects should be created here at this homepage. It allows you to streamline project members, and you're also able to select the cards, and you'll learn a little bit more about cards here in a little bit for what you want to have out on your project within the ACC environment. And then from this page, you can see that it's pulling information in. So we talked about talking with those legacy systems. When you're pulling in your MPMS number, it's pulling in that critical information that you need to start the project within the Collaboration Center. And then all this information that we have here from this homepage, then we'll go over and it will populate within the ACC environment itself. And you can see here at the top, it has ACC Home. So that's kind of gets you to where you need to be. And one of those key things that we were talking about were dashboards. And as we're going through, you'll see a multitude of dashboard options throughout. So there's project dashboards, there's an area called My Home, and then there's also an area called Executive Insights. We'll touch on those here a little bit. And I talked about those partner cards. So here on the left side of the screen, those are general out-of-the-box reporting, things that you can have at the project level. So if there's any issues with your trends coming from design, you can track your issues, turnaround times, anything that's open. Do you have anything that's behind schedule? It will be telling you where you're at with your review. There's also overall partner cards with other systems that allow you to have access out to that other system. And I'll show you that here in a moment, at least very high level what that is. And then they also have a generic partner card, and that's where the department really is looking to utilize and have those connections into our existing systems to share dashboards for reviews, key information may be coming in, and you'll see those partner cards here in a moment. So when you log into the Collaboration Center and you come into, this is the My Home screen, and this is again a very high level My Home screen area, you're able to see what's been assigned to you, what's due, what's up and coming, and you'll be able to click on those reviews and see where those things are at. And it can be across projects, it's not just project specific. And then you can see over here we have the projects that are GIS based on the map, so you can kind of go in there and view those. Items that you may have recently reviewed or viewed, I should say, as a document, and then our basic bookmarks where we want to go to, and the bookmarks are customized. So if that is something that you want to use, or there are certain things you want to have access to, you can go in and create that for yourself and put those specific bookmark links there. And I had talked about those business partner cards, and you'll kind of see a couple of these examples here a little bit later, but these are solutions that we currently utilize in the department for different things on the construction side of the house. But you can kind of see, the top right corner, you would click on that box, you can log into the system if it's a different login, and then you can gain access and the screen will get larger and you're actually out of that site. So instead of having to go to back out to your browser, pull up the link, everything is accessible from this location. And again, you can view and edit and update where needed for that. So moving on from the My Home side, we do have PennDOT custom cards and interfaces. So the first card that you're seeing here is our card pulling information from our MPMS system, so our planning system. It's overarching project key information as far as what the planned let date is, completion date, current construction cost. And this really kind of keeps things up front for our project managers, because again, this is pulling from MPMS. So if they know their let date is changing and they're noticing in PDCC that they still haven't updated that let date, this could be a trigger for them as they're seeing this card to say, oh, I need to change that let date in NPMS, or even the completion date, depending upon what that construction schedule looks like as they're completing their pre-bid construction schedule, and as well as their estimate. Another partner card that we have is our ASTA district project. So this is more of an overarching portfolio card for the projects. You can see specific to your district area, the projects that you're associated with, where they're at in progress, and if they're behind or ahead of schedule. We've also created a general bookmark for our custom cards, so that way we at least have those standard links over to PennDOT systems for everyone from that particular dashboard area. And then we also have our project GIS project map to outline where the project is at in the Commonwealth. So these are custom cards that are currently available to everyone to have in their projects. And these are things that were out there, and again, the intent really is to kind of share that information and connect those systems together. We're still continuing to develop additional ones, and you'll see some new ones here a little bit later on in the presentation. So another area, again, connecting that interoperability between systems is how our documents are talking between the Collaboration Center and the department's record retention solution, which is ECS. So as documents are created and they get reviewed and eventually approved within the system, we need to make sure that those approvals are available within the project development checklist in ECMS. And the key part to getting things from the Collaboration Center into ECMS is that record retention, ECS. Everything pulls from that area. So what you're going to see here in this video, as you can see at the bottom, it has ACC files, and you'll start to see the navigation here in a moment. But they're going to come in after they've selected the document. They're going to upload that over to ECS. All of the document classes and types are already available within this partner card. And you can see it also comes in with some key project information to be able to populate over within ECS. And you upload it over into ECS. And while that's occurring, we'll come back and we'll share it with you where that's at in the process, but it will confirm once it's there. Just have to refresh your screen, and then you're also able to scroll down and view the documents that are currently in ECS, so you know what you've already uploaded over. Today, this is a little bit different of a process. We have teams that have to go out, scan the documents, and then upload them into the ECS portal and be able to get those over there for viewing to connect over to ECMS. So again, this is streamlining that process, taking it from that final approval over into that system to be able to get into that ECMS for the project development checklist. Talked about some additional partner cards. These cards were just recently released in the end of October, so that you should be able to see them now within your environments if you choose to add them from the home page. But 3 new cards that were put in is the right-of-way plans card. So it's working with our iRight-of-way application to pull in, again, those right-of-way plan documents within that particular project location. We've also updated the project structures card. It used to only have bridges, but now we're also bringing in roadway structures. So that is now available. And then I would say the bigger one that I feel is probably going to be the most benefit for those executives here potentially listening today, or even our project managers, is the district overview page. So it pulls in the ASTA Power Project files, not the files, the status of those for you on this card, as well as the location. So you can see which of those projects are sitting in the Collaboration Center environment. So that's where the red is there. You're able to see that the blue are active and the red are not currently in the solution. And then under review, you're able to see which documents are currently going through a review submission within the solution. So jumping over into the open areas of focus for the team and where we're looking to go with some future improvements and things that will be coming out probably within the next year or so. One is we're working on our consultant workflows. We do have a work group with ACECPA testing and driving, walking through those workflows here within the next month, just to validate that what we have in line makes sense, and from their perspective, streamlines their workflows as well. We're looking at adding in forms and some other components, which I'll touch on here in a little bit. And then we have, the ability to work effectively and efficiently with our Bentley design files. That's another area that we are focusing on. You'll learn a little bit here in a moment about the Voyager integration, as well as the ability to search across projects. That is one area that we have been focusing on, is searching across projects and allowing those lessons learned, those successful submittals being able to be shared with their project management counterparts, but not having to be necessarily in everybody's project, but being able to have access to get that information and share it. Electronic signature seals and stamps are also working on, and tying into Ask the Power project and our upcoming vision solution that will be coming out in 2025. So touching on the forms here a little bit, in front of you, you have a detour approval form from one of our districts. Our intent is to continue coordination with our counterparts in central office with the design forms. We're also adding in construction forms as well. Within the solution, what this allows you to do is you don't have to go out, download the form, fill out the form. It's bringing all of this information into one location for you. The ability to edit the smart PDF, and if you need to workflow it through, you're able to do that as well. You can do it if you're in the field, if you need it out on the mobile application, or you can do it here on the desktop as well. And another thing that it's not shown here, but you can go in and you can add references from other areas within the solution. So if you had a photo that you needed to tie into your form, you're able to add those references in, or if there's an issue, you can tie that issue to the form, and maybe that issue is addressed by the form or vice versa. So again, this is the forms component, things that we are working on to have as part of the solution. The other area I just talked a little bit about photos, so having that location to come in and put your project photos in one spot, being able to label, you can add tags to those. You can have the geo reference, so you can not only view them in gallery mode, but you can also view them on the map. So again, these are things that we will be training on and teaching you here in the coming year. We also have an area for meetings, so you're able to set up your agendas, and you can kind of see here sending that information out. You create that meeting, you can include your Teams link so that everyone gets to the right call in. And then with that, as you have those follow-ups, you can track follow-ups within this solution as well, and where it's at and who has it. And then as you're going through that process, you can check those off as they are closed out, but keep track of them in addition to that. And that's the meetings component that'll be coming out. On the correspondence side, just having project correspondence with the project itself instead of in someone's inbox. You can find this to be helpful if someone's on vacation for a week and you needed to know, hey, so-and-so sent this PM an email last week, but they're not here. Do we have access to it? Depending upon how things are set up, you would have access to it as a project administrator. But again, things going back and forth between individuals stay with the project, but not everyone would necessarily see that workflow. So more to come on the training with regards to correspondence. And then the last area I wanted to touch on is schedule. And from this side, you can kind of look at it as three avenues, I guess you could say, or buckets of scheduling. One is your design schedule. Your design schedule prior setting your baseline could be put in here for review with the different areas. They can review it, they can come in and put suggestions in, and then those suggestions can be addressed, and I'll show you how those suggestions will be able to come into Ask the Power project here in the future. That's one avenue that you can do this at. You can also look at it from a pre-bid schedule review, so you have construction and maintenance reviewing it, as well as the design team being able to come in. You can mark it up, you can create your suggestions for that team, and then be able to go back and forth. By having your schedule within the Collaboration Center, you're able to review it, you can compare your schedules, and you're not required to be in Ask the Power project. You can actually view it here. And if you want to to look at it in a Gantt chart, or if you prefer to have the listing, which is here on the left, you can do that as well. Different options within it. And then that third avenue I talked about on the construction side for the schedule, again, bringing in that contractor schedule, being able to do those comparisons, make those suggestions and those comments. A little bit easier for our staff to be able, the inspectors, to be able to come in and view this and do a 2-week look ahead, a 4-week look ahead. And again, not having to go into ASTA to be able to do that. They have all the information they have here. The schedulers can go in and do what they need to do within ASTA Power Project, but the majority of the team for construction will be able to view and do what they need to do here. So that is the scheduling side. The next area that I had mentioned was talking about connectivity over with Bentley files. We currently utilize Bentley's ProjectWise Explorer environment for all of our Bentley CAD file locations, continuing to explore different avenues and on how to be able to do that. But one areas that we are looking at is the Autodesk replication tool. And that really currently is bringing the copy of those files over into the PDCC environment. Still early stages, looking to see where we can do that here in the future, how this, potential opportunities for expansion on this and maybe having that direct tie over so that as items are being updated, it's automatically being seen over within the collaboration center environment. But this is just one of the avenues that we're looking at and defining those best practices for being able to have that coordination. I had mentioned Voyager, and Voyager really, it's kind of bringing in that ECS environment, the files we have in Collaboration Center, the files we have in ProjectWise, and potentially some other systems. What it does is it's an indexing tool that is going to allow us to go out, and if I want it to be, and you can kind of see where I've been searching for different project files, I could type in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, zoom in on a map and say I wanted to look around, the I-83 South Bridge. What documents do we have in our systems with that particular location? And what you're going to be able to do in Voyager, zoom in on those locations, draw the lasso. You can do your keyword searches for those different document types. Because again, if you're just doing a lasso, you're probably going to come back with a lot of different documents. So if you're looking for whether it would be right-of-way, or maybe there was, design files, maybe there was something you wanted to see from construction, just kind of bringing that information back in and being able to look at it. And this kind of allows you to do that from an overall perspective. So you can see what was done in the past within that location without having to do a lot of digging and going through a multitude of systems. It kind of brings it all into one location for you. Voyager right now, we're looking on target for some probably mid-2025, but again, schedules can change. So again, looking to move forward with that. And then the next stick that we had on the list was signatures. And so what we are test driving right now, and will hopefully be coming out here within the next release, is a review transmittal area. So as you've gone through, you've done that final review, that review is closed out and it is approved. Today, you may have a front page that goes through and has a signature line that people will sign off with their electronic signature in that means. As you're going through the Collaboration Center, that signature really is that approval stamp that you've done for the document. So what you're going to see with this enhancement is that once you're done, it's going to come in and it will create this transmittal up front, and then it's going to tell you who reviewed and then the date that they approved it and with that timestamp associated with it. So taking that electronic review approval process and making it that front end PDF, so when you're getting things over in for that project development checklist, you have the dates and times and who reviewed and approved that submission associated with it. A little bit more on the schedule side. So I talked about how you're able to make those suggestions, and that's kind of what you're seeing right here. We're in the suggestion area for a project. And there are 4 open suggestions for this particular project, and a new feature that was placed in the environment is an export all for your suggestions. So by going out and clicking on this export all, it's going to create a file that then within the ASTA environment, there's now going to be, again, this is in beta, there's going to be import suggestions from Autodesk Build. And with that, you're going to be able to import that file that you just exported. And you're going to be able to see the different areas. So when that comes in, you're going to, similar to probably what you would see today in our web portal, you're going to have the line items with the changes with the suggestions. You can import all those suggestions at once. If you concur with everything, you can do line by line and make those edits as you need. But again, tying in that environment in the collaboration center with those suggestions, those schedule reviews, and bringing them into the actual schedule file itself and being able to update it. So for those department staff that have already, started within the solution of Collaboration Center, a lot of new things were just shown to you. For those of you that haven't even gotten your feet wet yet, I know I just shared a lot of information, and we are anticipating coming out to every district to have in-person training within the first quarter of 2025. And as we solidify that consultant workflow and what that looks like, we are anticipating to have virtual training for our consultants in the first quarter as well. The department will continue with our office hour support that we have for internal staff and just continue to have that communication and feedback back to both our internal team members as well as our business partners to make sure that we are all successful in the rollout of this solution and the understanding of how to be able to utilize it. So we've talked about our collaboration center. We've talked a little bit about interoperability. I'm going to jump over and kind of jump into a little bit more of our eConstruct. But again, you'll kind of see the tie back here with collaboration center as I'm going through this. So moving into a virtual world, last year when I presented, we were looking more on 2D and we said 3D is coming. We're excited to kind of be able to share with you what we're going to be up to within the new year. And this is kind of me coming back to share with you what we've been up to this past year. So on the left and kind of the top, you can see the hard hat and the HoloLens. That's really kind of going out with that augmented reality side of the house and being able to track those issues. And then UAS and being able to do those construction analytics. Last year we were showing you the slide chart between the different times of those flights, and you can kind of see the progress between the two. So getting into our eConstruct effort, just to set the stage before I do any show you what we've been up to, we do currently have 2 large construction projects within the Collaboration Center environment. They are the Bellefonte Interchange project in District 2, and the other project is in District 11. It's the Commercial Street Bridge project. The first effort I'm going to show you here actually is within our DataBIM solution, but DataBIM is also being used on the Bellefonte project as well. That right now I'm just going to be demonstrating and sharing with you what we have on our Interstate 81 Susquehanna River Bridge project, specifically with Randolph Road Bridge. So you'll be seeing that here in DataBIM, but the Bellefonte project is also utilizing this for their project. So what you're going to see here is we've clicked on Randolph Road. As the video starts to play, they're going to go in, they're going to zoom into that particular location. Randolph Road Bridge was designed in Bentley's V8i solution, and I always find this key when we talk about interoperability and the importance of being able to have systems speak and transfer information. This was designed in V8i. It was the contractor switched it over to Autodesk, so it went to a DWG file, and what you're seeing here is an IFC file. So 3 different file types, all within one project, different individuals touching those files. As you're going in, you can see the bridge model here. All of those elements were shown previously on the right side as far as key areas. But you can go in and you can decide which elements you want to see, toggle things on and off, being able to see what's supposed to be there according to the BIM model versus what's actually happening out in construction. But again, bringing that visualization to the project and allowing your teams to see what's going on and being able to focus in with that model. So again, helping with the visualization aspect of the project. And this side is really bringing in, we had talked about augmented reality. We're out on that same project. And again, last year we talked about the hard hat with the HoloLens. When bringing in the 3D side to all of this, hard hat and HoloLens right now is not where we're looking to utilize it at this point in time. It's not achievable at the moment, being worked on, but again, not the source at this point in time. So we are using our iPad Pros out in the field. You can see the inspector is up here on the left, and they're putting in piles and they're watching to see where everything is supposed to be. And you can kind of see a more close-up image of the model from the side here on the upper right-hand side of it. But then you'll also notice that they're marking issues up while they're in the field. So keep that in mind for when you see the next video clip here that I have. So the issues that you're seeing out on this particular project are going to be tying back into the Collaboration Center. So the model files that you see are coming from Collaboration Center, and the issues that you're seeing are going between both areas. So those issues identified in the field in a different system are actually going to be tying back in so that the inspection staff only have to go at one location. So you can kind of see here we have our site link files here within the Collaboration Center environment. This is a test project. This is not one of our actual projects out in the field. I just want to make sure that you are aware of that. Again, and the intent of this is to show you that we have a test project 1 for PennDOT, and it is the same naming convention and title as what we have in the Collaboration Center. So as we go into the site link application and we do our settings, it really is as simple as activating that connectivity between the ACC environment and SiteLink. And you can see here, this is the Susquehanna River Bridge, which is where they were out in the field. I'm obviously not out in the field to demonstrate this at the moment, but being able to go out and test those comments and showing you that we've made open comments, or what they call site links. And then they actually do tie back right into our issues over here within that Collaboration Center environment. So again, just wanted to kind of showcase, you can see Site Link 1 and bringing that over so that our staff, as they're potentially out in the field identifying things, those in the field, other individuals in the field, or maybe back in the office, are then able to see what they're marking up and being able to track and manage those issues. Another area that we are looking to expand upon, we had talked about Reconstruct last year. Reconstruct is going to be used on the Commercial Street Bridge project. What you're seeing here is actually our McLaughlin Run Roundabout project. But we're looking to tying in that reality mapping that we're getting from our drones here on the left, 360 cameras on the right, and LiDAR, and how that will work and benefit the construction industry. So one area is, looking at what's out there in reality, what's being built, and tying that to the schedule versus what was planned and what's tied with our BIM model with that schedule as well. So that's one avenue we're going to be looking at for Commercial Street, and being able to compare the two and see how those look. So on the screen in front of you, the top left is the reality of what's being built and how it's being done. And then on the right is what was planned to be done and the time frame that it had been planned to be done in. And this really is just going to bring you in as far as, that 3D time machine, I guess you could call it, being able to go in with the reality mapping, zooming into those locations, being able to take measurements and area volume as well. So maybe a little bit of a refresher from last year, but again, if you weren't able to attend last year, you can kind of see some of the other benefits of the solutions of being able to go in and take those images. And yeah. And here you're just going out and you're calculating your areas and your volumes to be able to get that information in to help with payment. And then down here at the bottom, you're going to see the actual time machine itself, so you can go back in time and see where things were at different points. So across the bottom here, it is showing you that it has that scale and that ability to go back to those previous captures. You can kind of zone in and see where things were at, the previous month or 6 months ago, however that may turn out. This one is really kind of bringing in that 2D side and going in and being able to do that as well. So what you'll see here is they're going to overlay the plan set. So the should be showing up here in the bottom left, I believe. And if it doesn't show up, you're able to go in and zoom in on particular locations. You have that plan set overlay and being able to see where your utilities are for this particular project, for their utility relocations, and zooming in to be able to see that on top of your photogrammetric model. And then you'll also be able to make pins and put in RFIs within this solution as well. And again, this is reconstruct. See all your ground control points, turning around so you can kind of see where you're at on the project site, and there it is there at the bottom left for that focus area. And as we go to the next one, really is kind of reviewing those work sequences and what is going on. So again, tying that schedule to the model. So you can see on the left side, you have your plan set, but you also have your model, zooming in on those particular locations. You can kind of see where you're out there navigating and being able to bring that in. Again, tying it to the schedule, that's what the model is doing. So you're able to go in and see what's supposed to be being done. You can do look aheads as well to see where things are supposed to be at. And then that slide rule as far as the dates when you want to go back and view those different schedule updates and focus in on key areas and work that was being done during that time. So you can kind of see what's planned, and as of right now, they appear to be in construction, and it's been constructed and it's completed on time for this particular use case. Probably a broken record at this point, but bringing in that interconnectivity with Collaboration Center. So you were seeing that they were putting in RFIs. You'll see here in a moment issues, but having that ability to get those files from that one location to go back and make sure that we have the correct information for our construction team as they are going to look at different things within the field. So this system is bi-directional interconnectivity with our Collaboration Center. Again, being able to pull those particular files, whether it's a model file, plan sheets, whatever it may be, across the platforms, and then the issues, being able to bring those design and field issues back into that one location within the PDCC environment for everyone to have access to. And this next slide really is just going to kind of show you how those issues work. So they're in that BIM model location that we have. They'll zoom out here. They're going to go in actually and identify an issue. So they're going to zoom in even further. They're going to get a picture here as well. So you can see they're in reconstruct, making their issues. They're creating a new issue here as far as reviewing site conditions. They'll assign it a status. They can assign it to a person if they choose to assign it to a person. That level, the type it is, the due date. And then in this instance, they are going to attach a photo to it. And then what you're seeing over on the right side is that the issues that were sitting in, and I have a different issue toggled, which is why it doesn't look the same. I actually have the safety issue toggled in the PDCC environment. But what you're seeing is that those issues, again, that are sitting out there in their particular environment are coming back into the Collaboration Center, and then you'll be able to have the photos and who it's assigned to and be able to get things processed. Again, all back in one spot. So again, I know I covered a lot today. Key focus areas on interoperability, sharing some information about our Collaboration Center and where that's going, and really just kind of to tie everything together is my take on our infinity of where we're at. As we start at the center, and the core is our GIS environment, which is ArcGIS with Esri for the department. We utilize that and capitalize on those Esri GIS layers as we're going through our project creation. So as we go through the left side of the affinity with our project delivery Collaboration Center, project creation, being able to know and do that initial rapid visualization and see what those impacts are. That's where GIS kind of gets us all started off when we're doing those alternative analyses, working our way through the design process, utilizing the Collaboration Center where we need to be utilizing the Collaboration Center, making sure we are being supportive and being CAD agnostic, allowing our partners to be able to capitalize on what makes sense for them for a CAD solution, as well as the department. Again, making sure that that data is correct and is coming in the correct format, but again, being able to have that openness as well. And then tying into construction and as-builts. And as-builts and construction are still we're working our way through those processes and working to define those areas. So again, nothing has been set in stone for them, but again, working towards that vision where they need to be. So again, the left side is Collaboration Center. We're working with our counterparts at the Turnpike to gain an understanding of a product called GeoBIM and utilizing Esri scenes and what that looks like when we get those as-builts back into the system and how we tie the Collaboration Center into Esri. And again, that is the left side. When we look at the right side, we have all this data, and we showed earlier, there's a lot of different systems we have at the department. How do we bring it together? What makes sense? What data do we need to help make decisions in the future, for our executive staff to be able to visualize, or even ourselves to visualize in making those recommendations? And just some key areas that we know that are already tying into the GIS environment or plan to be tying in from those more recent innovations that we have. We know we're looking at it from an outdoor advertising perspective. We have our iRightAway system that we showed earlier with that partner card. Those as-builts, whether it's our plan as-builts that we have today or those future digital as-builts, how does that tie in? What does that look like coming into ArcGIS? E-ticketing, we didn't talk about that today, but again, that's another big eConstruct initiative that's going on, as well as RFID tags and getting that material information into a system to be able to share. Tying materials in with our eCam solution, and we touched on eCMS and MPMS, what makes sense, what do we need to be able to see from those areas within a GIS environment. And again, Voyager is a GIS-based application that works with Esri. So being able to take those documents that we know are sitting in the record retention area and making them available, easily accessible for our teams to be able to manage and sort through to get that key project information that they need to know and be able to share to help them create and get their project started. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time out of your day today to learn about our Collaboration Center, how we're tying that with design to construction, and how our eConstruct efforts that we've been working on for the past year or two are coming together, getting on some of our larger projects, and tying that as well back into the Collaboration Center to bring things into that one main location. Again, Collaboration Center is not in itself one solution. It has that flexible backbone that's bringing those solutions together for the department and our business partners to be successful in delivering our projects. At this time, Anya, we'll open it up for any questions. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you, Kelly, so much for your presentation and providing this informative look at what PennDOT is doing in the realm of digital transportation transformation and all of our eConstruct efforts. So now we would like to hear from you, our audience members. So if you have any questions, please enter it via the chat box in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. I do see a couple in there already, and I'm gonna pass it over to Danielle Klinger-Grumbine from the Bureau of Innovations to take over the Q&A portion of this webinar. Just wanted to remind you once again before we do that to make sure that you not only click on the PDH credit link that's in the chat if you want to earn a PDH credit, as well as please complete the feedback survey that Danielle just posted in there as well. So with that, I'll pass it over to Danielle.
Thank you, Anya. Yes, Kelly, we do have a few questions that have come in via the chat for you. So do you just want to make sure that you're off of mute? So the first question came in a little earlier on in your presentation. We were talking about PDCC, and the question was, will there be training available for consultants?
All right, thanks, Danielle. Yes, there will be training available once we nail down that workflow that I had talked about earlier. We will be doing outreach and having a handful of webinar series as well as recorded trainings available for our consultant partners.
Thank you, Kelly. The next question that came into the chat is, will there be a simple way to transfer documents such as final structure, right-of-way plans, H&H, foundation reports, shop drawings from PDCC to BMS2 for future reference.
So I guess not to get too far into the weeds of things, but I had talked about that transition over from PDCC over to ECS. And my understanding is that BMS2 pulls documents from that ECS system. So I've taken a note for the geodecisions team to kind of look at that and see what that connectivity is over to BMS2. So that's something I'll take back for the team. But I would imagine tying over, we should be able to do that.
Yeah, thank you. Another question that came in while you were presenting, is there a plan for a digital estate based upon geospatial data and standardized file structure by type of model?
So I'm going to just say that that's a work in progress, Danielle. A lot of different individuals be at the table for that conversation. So it's on the roadmap. Maybe I'll say it that way, but it's a work in progress.
So it is being discussed.
Very
All right,
initial,
okay.
initial stages. Not too far in the weeds yet.
Another question that came in, the digital delivery group has been showing Bentley Synchro for viewing models in the field. Are both Bentley and Autodesk systems being used, or is one becoming the more preferred option?
So my understanding is that right now the digital delivery pilot projects are utilizing Bentley Synchro exclusively for their model viewing for those pilot projects.
Okay. Thank you. Another question, if a district is interested in using data BIM or Reconstruct for one of their construction projects, who should they contact?
So if a district is interested in using data BIM or Reconstruct, please reach out to me and then we can get the team together and work to get that set up for you.
And for the drone captures, who is flying the projects?
So that really depends upon the project and kind of what's even in there contractually. So some projects our contractors are flying them. Others are CMCI consultants are doing it, or even department staff. So yeah, there's a lot of options as far as who's flying.
And just one more question that came in here. Will business partners be required to purchase Autodesk Construction Cloud licenses to access the Project Delivery Collaboration Center?
They will not need to purchase the Autodesk Construction Cloud to access PDCC. The department is working on, has that available for them at no cost.
Okay. Looks like we got a few more questions in here as well. So I'm going to go to the easy one first. And this is for me more so than you, Kelly. Is this training being recorded? Yes, it is being recorded, and it's going to be placed on our innovation webpage on PennDOT's website. So we'll be sharing that information with all participants as to where you can access this recording later. So back to you, Kelly. A question came in. During construction, there will likely be project sites with limited wireless service. Will the modeling software be able to be used in an offline mode with automated updates when service is available?
So I'm going to say that probably depends upon the solution that you would be using out in the field. Likely not to be using data BIM and Reconstruct necessarily out on site. You can, but again, that's more bringing in the flight captures. I cannot speak to Synchro. I don't know the answer on that one, Jason. I'm sorry, but I don't. Yeah. So, and
well, we can always take that question away. Sorry, Kelly, go ahead.
Yes, no, we can. Yes, if you wouldn't mind. I actually know Jason, but yes, if you wouldn't mind capturing that one for me, Danielle, and we can look. But I don't know that answer with regards to Synchro. I'm sorry.
Yeah. We did just hear from Alan Melly, who did say Synchro can work in an offline mode.
All right. Thanks, Alan.
So we got our answer. Thanks, Alan. We'll give it a few minutes here. At this point, I don't see any additional questions in the chat. So I'm going to quickly turn it over to Anya for any additional housekeeping items that she would like to go over. And then we'll just do one last check of the chat to see if additional questions have come in before we wrap up for today. Anya?
Well, thanks, Danielle, and thanks everybody for your questions today. If the webinar ends and you still have questions that we didn't get to, feel free to email us at dotinnovations@pa.gov. We can connect with Kelly and get those questions answers. A big thanks to Kelly for participating today and recording the presentation. Thank you so much. And then also, again, a reminder to please take a look at the survey, the chat for the 2 surveys we put in there, one for the PDH credits, one for the feedback survey. And if you have any ideas for future webinar topics, feel free to put those in that feedback survey as well. There is an opportunity for you to give us additional ideas for topics. We are looking to continue this webinar series next year, so be on the lookout for the save the date for our 2025 Innovation in Motion webinar series. And I think that's it for me. I don't see any other questions in the chat, so I think we can wrap it up. Again, thank you everybody for joining us today, and we look forward to future webinars next year, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.